It's El Clasico this weekend as Barcelona entertain Real Madrid at the Camp Nou. Barca, though, of course, already crowned champions. Real Madrid guaranteed a Champions League spot next season. So as we welcome Sid Lowe to the show, as we take a look at the SBI, Sid, Barca favourites 50%, Real Madrid 30%. Barca, this is a weird game, isn't it? Because for a Clasico, it just feels very, very underwhelming.
It does, and it's true that some of the build-up that you normally have for the Clasico just hasn't happened this week because, of course, the focus has been on Real Madrid's Champions League semi-final instead. But I think when the game comes around, it will still feel like a big deal, and I think it matters to both teams in terms of this kind of eternal and ever so slightly tedious debate about whose season has been better. And that's been going on all the way through the last 2 or 3 weeks, basically since Barcelona were knocked out of the Champions League. And in that kind of debate about, is a double better than a Champions League? Is a Champions League better than a double? And in a way, I mean, first of all, it kind of doesn't matter. But of course, emotionally, it does matter for both sets of fans. There's no doubt about it. It matters to Barcelona fans if Real Madrid win the Champions League. Real Madrid fans believe that they can kind of ride through Barcelona's double if they win the Champions League, not least because it would be a third in a row. I mean, it doesn't make that double any less because Madrid win the Champions League, but it will make it feel like this. So I think what this game does is it offers Real Madrid the chance to beat Barcelona and say, you see, we're better than them, even if they won the league, and now we're going to win the European Cup. And by the way, at the same time, of course, deny Barcelona the chance to have a season in which they win the league without losing a single league game, which would be historic. From Barcelona's point of view, the complete opposite is true. The chance to beat Real Madrid and win the league and not being beaten at all in the league is their way of saying, well, look, the European Cup, weird things happen.
Before I ask you who's had the better season, Sid,
Have a think about that.
Please don't ask me that.
it's going to happen.
Have a think about what you just said. I'm going to ask you to repeat that in a minute.
Right, I understand.
We have discussed
You
that
are
as
going to
well.
ask me as well, aren't you? I can see it coming.
Well, we've had
That's
that.
a banker, 'cause
We've had this discussion on
yeah.
the show.
Yeah, of
well, I don't know if
course.
it was much of a discussion, but we had
Obviously.
Yeah.
we had a chat about it. So, did Real Madrid beat them there earlier in the season, didn't they, in the Cup?
In the Spanish Cup,
In the
yes.
Spanish Cup as well. So I suppose
In the Super Cup.
Super Cup, yeah.
In the Spanish Super Cup, yeah, but not once the kind of, obviously the Spanish Super Cup, their equivalent of the Charity Shield. So once the kind of the season proper, if you like, gets underway, Real Madrid haven't beaten Barcelona.
Yeah, but they're counting that, aren't they?
Oh, they won't be.
Absolutely. Of course, yeah.
I understand fans' perspective. Fans, you know, want bragging rights. Well, we've done this, that. From a player's point of view, like, how much do you genuinely care about breaking this unbeaten record?
I think now that it's there and it's there to be broken, yes. Now it matters. The league's won, that's all wrapped up and tied in a nice little bow.
From a Real Madrid perspective, if you're in that Real Madrid locker room, is everyone going, right, let's do it?
Absolutely. You want to deny
it's a thing.
Barcelona every opportunity to celebrate as you can. The league's won, the cup's won, there's nothing you can do at this point. If you can take away that writing of history for Barcelona, yes. Absolutely. And you know full well that you're on the cusp of writing history yourself in the Champions League with the third in a row. So I think in that respect, it matters to Real Madrid players.
You're in the Champions League final, again, going for a treble. You're in your enemy's or rival's backyard, and you can put a stop to it whilst winning the derby as well. So from that perspective, it is absolutely there to play. I don't think because the league title's over and blah, 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 I don't think we're going to see any less intensity in this game.
Right.
I think that people that watched it a lot longer than me will maybe be able to correct me, but I think historically there's always, I mean, there's been some bad games, but I think that animosity, that intensity is always going to be there in this fixture.
I think there's a book maybe that's been written about the animosity and the history between these two. Like, I can't remember who the author was.
The thing is, though, with these two, and what we've seen over recent weeks is, regardless of what it is, regardless of how petty it may be, everything is an issue. And this guard of honor thing that's been going on kind of highlights exactly how petty these two can be when it comes to each other.
The guard of honour, of course. Real Madrid not going to do it, Sid. Obviously, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but they won't do it because they didn't do it for them after the Club World Cup. Is that right?
Well, that's part of the rationale. Although, actually, in fairness, no one at Real Madrid has said that. No one has said, we're not doing it because they didn't. They've just said, we're not doing it. And Zidane, in this sense, ended this brilliantly because he came out in a press conference and said, we're not doing it. End of story. My decision. It's over.
Right.
And for about a day, people stopped talking about it.
Oh, but then they brought it back up. Like Sid, who has had the better season? But in all seriousness, though, you spent a lot of time in Madrid and a lot of time in Catalonia. Who's more jealous of who?
I mean, look, it is true, I think, that there is a sense domestically in Spain that, look, one of these two teams should win the league and one of these two teams should win the cup. And so, therefore, that title doesn't feel like quite the huge thing that the Champions League feels like. And it's not just that Barcelona aren't going to win the Champions League, it's the way they were knocked out, and then, of course, watching Real Madrid go on to do it. I think if Madrid were to win the Champions League, I think it would feel like their season was bigger and more historic. But in terms of, if you like, the kind of the merit of it, perhaps winning, I don't know. Maybe the double is better in terms of the merit of it. But the Champions League, there's no doubt it's bigger. And people often say, well, why is the Champions League bigger than La Liga? They both play in La Liga. Well, in a way, it's something very simple, isn't it? This is a scale. Spain is a country, Europe is a continent. And so by definition, the continental tournament is bigger.